Hello, Fit Pro Business podcast listeners. I want to thank you for joining me for another fantastic episode. Today, I am joined by Mr. Alan Cortez. Alan helps fitness business owners attract new clients using social media and can get you more clients in 30 days. Hey, Alan, I want to welcome you to the show. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit about your story and how you got to be where you are in helping fitness business owners?
Yeah, absolutely. Andy, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'd be more than happy to dive into some of the specifics and see if I can help some fitness professionals along the way. So yeah, I mean, basically with me, so I guess I kind of like to take it step by step in terms of how I got to like where I am today. And like one of the big points for me was I kind of got started in entrepreneurship early on. So in high school, I was actually working at a Subway, right? Like it was my first job, and I was just like, all right, Subway. I had my last paycheck. It was like $160, and I was like, damn. I was like, this sucks. I gotta work really hard to like. Back then, minimum wage was like $7-8, you know. Right. So y'all are complaining today. Back then, it was $7-8. So I was doing that, and I was like, all right, well, what can I do? You know, being from a Latino family, my mom's always been a hustler. People I know have been hustlers. I was like, what can I do to turn this 160 into more? So then what I did is I went into like basically like a Smart and Final, and I was like, okay, well, the Smart and Final, the candies are half off. Like maybe I could sell candy in school, buy it for 50 cents and sell it for $1. So I was like, all right, let me try it out. I'll start small, I'll experiment. So I bought like $30 worth of candy, put it in my bag, and I was like, you know, super shy at first, like, hey, like, you guys want to buy some candy? But keep in mind at this point, I think this was like 2008, 9, 10, I forget when. This is when in like Southern California, basically candy and sweets were outlawed because like Schwarzenegger was like governor and was like, yo, everyone has to be healthy. Long story short, there was a demand. I saw it. I, bought a couple candies, some Mexican candies. Said, hey, you guys want to buy some candy? And then boom, within like an hour, 2 hours, I was sold out. So then that's how I got started. So I was known as a candy man.
Nice. And demand.
Yeah, I would basically buy candy. I would buy about $150, $300 worth of candy and then sell it for double. So I started hustling candy at school. I was known as the Candy King. I had a Candy Prince, who was the second top producer, and then the Candy Peasant, who didn't sell as much. We just had titles. So that's how I did it. I just started like that, and I was like, yo, this is fun. Like you find a demand, you hustle it, you got to overcome your insecurities of talking to people. I would sell to teachers. And at one point, long story short, they even had the principals like, hey, watch out for students selling candy out of their backpack. So the operation was big. I was making like $300 a day. People would pick up their bags of candy from the trunk of my car in the morning, sell it, come back with profits for X amount they sold. They'd get paid.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then from there, I basically transitioned into college. So fast forward, I went to UC San Diego. I was a fraternity president there. That's where I really got the foundations on leadership, Sigma Phi Epsilon. You can see it. I actually have it there, just so you know, in case nobody believes me. And that basically helped me set the foundations for success. I studied nano engineering. Going forward from that, I graduated, went to your traditional 9-to-5 job. I was actually a scientist at a biotechnology company, and I was doing a lot of lab work and stuff like that. But what ended up happening was I was like, yo, like this is never gonna help me live the life that I want, and I just didn't feel like I had an immediate impact on people's lives like I wanted to. So, basically why I left, is I wanted to help people empower themselves, to improve their situation. And that's kind of how I got my gratification from there. So then I basically started my fitness marketing business on the side. The reason I chose fitness was because I was like, you know what, like I've always liked working out, did a little football, a little wrestling in high school, and then in college worked out, so I always loved it. I knew what the mental, translated from the physical, and I was like, you know what, if I can help people look and feel good, I was like, why not? So it was a win-win there. And then so I basically went from that. I built my business full-time, and then I matched the income I was making at my job, and then I left and I just went full-time with the fitness marketing. That's how I got started.
And how long have you been doing the fitness marketing now?
Yeah, so it's about 2.5 years, I think going on 3 roughly. So, with some months and stuff like that. But basically, like you mentioned, what it is I do now is I basically help, gym owners, personal training studios, fitness businesses attract new clients in the door using social media marketing, in roughly 30 days or less. And I do this with training programs, basically. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, one of the things I like to start interviews off with is a lot of my guests have favorite quotes that inspire a lot of fitness business owners. So, what's one of your favorite quotes and what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so it was tough to choose. When I thought about it, I was like, man, like what's one of my favorite quotes? Just thinking about it normally, but one that always resonates to me is a quote that goes, "You are not the highest version of yourself you can imagine. You are the lowest version of yourself which you can accept." And basically, what that means to me is, we always strive to be XYZ person, and we're always talking about goals and who we want to be. But at the end of the day, like, who you are today will not achieve the level of success that you want. So the lowest version of yourself you can accept, from how you eat, how you think, how you treat others, how you run your business, that's who you are now. And in order for you to transition to the person that you want to become, you have to change yourself, starting with you and then everything else around you. And
Right.
that's kind of what that quote means to me.
Awesome. Yeah. Constant and never ending improvement. It's kind of the same thing for fitness business owners. You can't stay the same and expect to keep getting the same results. You have to constantly be improving and looking to involve yourself in your business.
Right. Absolutely.
Some of the things, from a fitness business owner perspective, there's a lot of talk about social media marketing and how to drive leads into your business. What are some of the tips and tactics you can give fitness business owners to generate leads through social media and create more engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's kind of two tiers that I like to think of it as. There's like organic and free ways to get clients. And then there's paid social media marketing. For example, like Facebook and Instagram marketing, which is more of what I focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And, organic is obviously free. So it doesn't cost much to create content, for your ideal client, to position yourself as a local expert. But what you really want to do when you're going the organic route is you want to consistently, first things first, you want to identify who your ideal client is. I talk to different gym owners, personal trainers, and a lot of them say like, oh, well, my ideal client is anyone who's willing to pay, or men between like 25 and 65. Like, honestly, like, I train everyone. But if you look at the spread, you'll realize that like 80% of your clientele is within a smaller spread of demographic. Mm-hmm. And that's the clientele that pays you the most.
Right.
So first, identifying who your ideal client is, their pains, fears, desires, and aspirations. That's what allows you, when you understand that allows you to create content because you know what they want. Yeah. For example, a busy mom in her 30s and 40s with 1 or 2 kids is not going to have the same desires for getting in shape as a younger lady who's, between the ages of 23 and like 27, who's more for like the aesthetic. Mm-hmm. Whereas, 30s and 40s, your metabolism might start to change a little bit. And when you can create content that resonates with them, that's when you position yourself as a local expert from that perspective. And another way to get, free clients is a lot of times you'll see that you'll have consultations, you'll have past or current clients that are within your ideal client demographic. And as you go talking to these type of people, even if they don't sign up for your programs, you want to start adding them as friends list on Facebook to your personal page to keep them in the loop. Because just because they're not a client one day, when they start seeing testimonials and all the good content that you position yourself at, you put out there, and then they start realizing like, wow, look at all these people getting awesome results. All right, I wasn't ready then, but when I am ready, like, Andy's going to be the guy because he's top of mind. He's always producing good stuff that has value. And that really, like, knowing your ideal client and creating content is what really drives engagement. So if you ever notice, like, if you post stuff and it's kind of like general, it's like cool, but it doesn't captivate the audience as much as if you talked about, for example, the 3 daily frustrations when it comes to getting in shape for women in their 30s and 40s. And then based on the stuff that you talk about, derived from the ideal client stuff, the research that you did, then it's like, oh, wow, like, that's perfect. That's exactly, what my problem is. And Andy really knows what he's talking about when it comes to getting in shape for my type of, personality and person.
Right. So from a business perspective, you really have to dive into the, what drives or motivates the ideal client that you're trying to get to, and then release content that when they see it or read it, they're like, hey, he's talking to me. Like, this is the guy that I want to do business with.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to understand that people buy from a marketing perspective. They buy off emotion. They buy with emotion because of what they're trying to accomplish. and what their life would be like. And your job is basically taking someone from their problem and their current situation, and you are the gap that they're missing to get to their desired situation. And when you think of it like that, it puts it a lot more into perspective.
And what advice could you give fitness business owners that may be struggling with developing content, releasing content, getting themselves out there? What sort of tips or advice could you give, the fitness business owner that, knows he needs to maybe shoot, some videos, dropping, content on clients, maybe blogs? What advice would you say that to the fitness business owner to actually produce quality content that's going to resonate with his audience?
Yeah, absolutely. What I would recommend is to go ahead and take, 5-10 clients that you already have, and, just Google like market research questions or something like that, and start asking them these questions, and then start to try to identify patterns as to why they signed up with you, why not with the competition, like what do they want in their fitness, what are they struggling with, what was their past like, where are they trying to get to now, because of these situations. And you really use that to create the content, number one, like for ideas. And then number two, I would recommend, as that, and then obviously building your friends list is important, because if all your friends are guys, but you're working with, like for example on Facebook, but you're working with mainly women in 30s and 40s, you're not going to be reaching the right audience. So you want to consistently add new people who are a good fit as friends. You want to post content roughly 3 times a week minimum, just so that people don't know you disappeared. And then on top of that, you want to make sure that you can use your phone. It's like these days the iPhone cameras are so powerful. What I do, if you ever look at my page, like I literally pull out my iPhone and I go selfie mode, and I'm just like walking around kind of like vlog style. And it doesn't have to be a super fancy setup. You don't have to be, invest, $2,000 in a good camera. It's more important to take action, to start creating content and just do it, and then experiment.
Yeah.
And then from there, start innovating and tweaking as you go.
Now, do you recommend any sort of like schedule for posts, like posting in advance, maybe scripting out like a couple of weeks at a time, or anything? Because I know, like, even from my perspective, like I put out a lot of content, and I know that I would benefit from actually scripting it out, like, today, Monday through Friday, what am I going to do, opposed to just, I need to shoot a video, or I'm winging it. Do you have any recommendations on how fitness business owners can be consistent with releasing content?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do is I take maybe 1-2 days in the week when it's the slowest, and I just kind of highlight and bullet point kind of what my content's going to be. And I always go back to the market research to see like, what do my ideal clients want to learn, and why, and what are they struggling with? And I try to provide value that way. So I block it out to maybe 1 or 2 days. And then I do it all, and I'll do like, 3 to 4 posts from there. And then I'll use software like Hootsuite or what is the other one called? Smarter Q. And basically it allows you to put it on Facebook, LinkedIn, your personal profile, and your groups. And on top of that, you're allowed to put it on your business page. So you create it, you schedule it, right? You want to schedule it to when somebody is, if you're working with someone who has a typical 9-to-5 job, they're probably going to be home 6, 7, 8 p.m. or early in the morning when they get up and check their Facebook to go to work. That's kind of the ideal time, or lunchtime, when you would post it, and you just schedule it out, right? And that's kind of how I do it, so that I'm not like, okay, one profile, next profile, next profile. I create, set 1 or 2 days, create the content, a mixture of videos, pictures, testimonials, before and afters, personal tips and stuff like that. And then I just schedule when to post it.
Nice. So that's really, that's a good idea. Something I hadn't thought of for my business is really systematizing, your posts through a service like Hootsuite. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Hootsuite and Smarter Q. Smarter
Q. Okay, I'll put those links in the show notes for this, so fitness business owners can check that out. So, do you have any other sort of tips on getting more leads through your social media? Maybe some marketing secrets on how fitness business owners can drive more leads. It doesn't necessarily have to be organic, but maybe some paid advertising options as far as utilizing Facebook ads and Instagram ads.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll touch on one more key point before I talk about paid ads that you can do right now. So one strategy that I tell, my clients and my students is like, hey, like, don't forget that there's a big list of people that you've done business with in the past, and who might have signed up in the past, got good results, past clients and current clients. And then you think about it, you're like, how many times do you actually reach out to them and nurture them and just say, hey, how's it going? Like, are you enjoying your experience? What can we do to improve, the facility, the experience? And, just have a casual human conversation. Send them a text. Doesn't have to be too crazy, once a month. And then from there, what you can do, when you start getting in that habit, once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, you say, hey, by the way, Andy, I know that you got awesome transformation here. You lost 30 pounds in the span of 8 weeks. Are there any other friends or family members that you would want to work out with? We can hook them up with a free trial, a free consultation, and get them in so they can work out with you. And when you're cool with somebody at that level and it's personable, and then you ask them for a referral or for leads, so to speak, if the gym I was at asked me, hey, Alan, like, we're trying to, have 100 people have amazing transformations this month, and do you have any friends or family members who might want to come in for a free trial? I will go out of my way, because they're cool and I like them and I've gotten good results with them, to go find friends. Like, you know what, that guy Keegan, he's been lazy lately. My friend, I'm gonna hit him up. I'm gonna tell him to get up. So that's one quick thing you can do, is just send a text message. And if you don't want to do it manually, what you can do is use software like, what is that one called? It's called, I'm going blank here. Scipio. That's what it's called. Scipio.
Okay. Yeah, I've researched Scipio, and there's another software also that's called Off Day Trainer that is really good for fitness business owners as well.
Yeah, well, something like Scipio, it just basically allows you to import all of your numbers and name and contact info, send them as text, and it sends them a personalized text instead of a massive one. And then you can pop up on your screen who you're having a conversation with. That way you can keep track of it. So that's something that's a little bit more personable than manually texting everyone.
Right.
But that's the organic side of things, I guess. And
absolutely. I think from a lot of fitness business owners are always kind of chasing the new leads, the new clients, trying to bring new people in the door. And when they really actually have a built-in market of existing clients and previous clients that they may not be following up with and reaching out to to drive them back into the business. And also on that point, somebody that's done business with you before in the past that has had a good experience is a lot easier to sell and bring in than somebody that's new, that doesn't know you or is just finding out about you.
Absolutely. And then we have to take into account that there's different levels of lead quality. So there's like a referral, that's what's considered like a hot lead, right?
Yeah.
Referral, somebody's already talked them up for you. They're probably like 60, 70% of the way there to sign up most of the time. And then social media with paid advertising is like right in the middle. It's warm. It's not cold, like cold calling someone, but it's not hot like a referral. But at the same time, all they know from paid advertising is like, hey, like I just saw something on Instagram or I saw something on Facebook. Like it sounded cool. I don't know too much about them. So they kind of got their like, they're a little bit more reserved because it's the internet and people don't really trust the internet, which basically transitions into paid advertising unless you had any other comments about what I just said.
No, I think we're rocking and rolling. I'm interested in getting into the paid advertisement.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously the benefit of paid advertising with social media, Facebook, Instagram, is you have a larger reach and a larger audience size pool to select from. But if you don't know what you're doing, what the numbers mean, like the metrics, in marketing, people think like, oh, well, I don't think this ad is performing well. Well, you got to look at the numbers and remove emotion from marketing because it is not emotional at all. It's very scientific. And you got to look at the numbers and you drive behavior with data, not emotion, which sometimes people get it the other way around. And what you can end up doing is setting up a campaign, not knowing what you're doing and not get any leads and lose, money. Right. So I see that happen with people who try it on their own because like, oh, I want to save $1. I don't want to hire a marketing company, or I don't want to invest in this program. But you know what they say, ignorance is bliss until you get caught up and you end up losing $1,000 and you're like, damn.
Right. Well, I don't think there's I know for myself, I've come a long way in regards to marketing, but there's probably no business owner that's ran ads on their own on Facebook that hasn't lost money.
Right. Exactly.
And I also I think too, is like you were talking about the numbers and, a lot of fitness business owners just look at marketing as an expense because they're having to put out money every month, whatever they set as their budget, but they're not really paying attention to what the lifetime value is of a client. And ultimately, if I'm spending, let's just say $100 to obtain a $300 client, that's $200 of profit. It cost
Mm-hmm.
me $100 to acquire them, but I made $200, and that's just on maybe the first month. That doesn't even include what the lifetime value is of the client. So that's some of the bigger numbers that, like you were referencing, that fitness business owners really need to look at when in regards to marketing and getting in new leads.
Right, absolutely. And in addition to that, like knowing the numbers, knowing the metrics, you have to be effective at the, when it comes to lead generation with paid advertising, you basically need to know who you're targeting. And that comes down to, again, knowing your ideal client. That's the number one thing that you need to do. And people don't think it matters, but if you don't know who your ideal client and you don't know how to speak their language, you're almost 50% chance you're setting yourself up for failure. And with that said, knowing your ideal client allows you to write good copy. And copy is basically the words that you use to persuade someone, excite someone to take action. And it basically speaks to their desires, their fears. There's different angles that you can take with it. And then associated with that, when you do know that ideal client, you have good copy and ads. You want to make sure when you're doing paid advertising that you have good videos and photos that basically make people stop what they're doing and just take a second look. Because we have to understand that on social media, we think, our fitness businesses are like, oh, this is the most amazing thing. Everyone's going to want to know about it. But at the end of the day, nobody cares about you more than you. And that's just the truth. Right. And nobody else does either. So you want to have something that captivates their attention and just makes them stop. And then from there, you're competing with cat videos, memes, their friends. And from there, you basically have to be able to make them stop in their tracks. When they stop, they read the headline and then they read more into what you have to say. And they're like, oh, click this link, consultation, right. $10 for 10 days. Oh, what is this? And they click the link, they go to a landing page, and that's the second component. The landing page is basically the page, looks like a website page that somebody clicks on after, they see your ad, and that gives them more details of the offer. And then that has a call to action. So take the next step, boom, boom, boom. And then you're scheduling them for an appointment, a trial, an offer, and then you go from there. And obviously the lead follow-up and scheduling is absolute priority, because at the end of the day, like, the attention span of people on the internet is like less than a goldfish now. I think a goldfish is like 10 seconds and humans are now at like 8 seconds. So they forget, like there's people I talk to, like they're doing lead generation, other gyms, and like, I messaged them, I reached out a day later and like, they're like, what is this? I was like, you got to reach out within like 5 minutes with like a text, a phone call, or a combination of both, because people forget within the day. Like, I don't even remember what I did 2 days ago, let alone what I put on social media, right? So scheduling is a must. And that's basically kind of the gist, high level of how to do more effective paid advertising. Break it down in the components. You optimize each component. And if one component's broken, you got to identify which one it is and be able to fix it, and then keep driving that machine forward.
Yeah, I think that's, as far as the advice on following up right away, that's really good advice. And I know in the past I've been guilty of that myself, because you get caught up, you get busy. But if you can possibly delegate that, follow up to somebody else, at least some sort of automatic follow-up, whether that's a text you send out right away, that's huge in regards to keeping that person engaged and ready to, follow up for that call or that come in for that consultation.
Right, absolutely. And the next level of that is that there's a lead generation, the marketing part, but the next level that sometimes people neglect, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but when I ask gym owners, like, what's your sales process like? They're like, oh, we bring them in and we kind of just like take measurements and like show them the workout. And then if they want to buy, they buy. But it's, at the end of the day, if you're bringing in 100 leads, but you're only signing one up, and because your sales process, the second big system, is not effective, right? How you sign on clients, then you can spend $1,000 and only make 1,000 because you're not effective at converting those leads into actual clients.
Right. So it's two parts. It's generating the leads through paid advertising, having the right systems in place to capture contact information, following up right away. And then also an important aspect of that is getting them in the door. Once they're in the door, having that right sales system to actually close more of the leads that you get in the door.
Absolutely. And there's another component that I also like to think about. And there's basically three tiers. And from my perspective, the three most effective things that a fitness business needs, and, not so much any fitness business, any business in general, it's, you need to have a reliable way to, get leads and appointments, convert those appointments into sales. And then from the sales component, make sure that they have an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Because when they have an amazing experience, you can set it up so before they start working with you, they say, hey, if you're happy with your results after 8 weeks of personal training with me, are there any 3 people that you might be able to refer and give a testimonial for? And then you use that and you feed it back into the machine, and then you use the testimonials as more social proof.
Right.
You keep driving that machine like a snowball effect. That's just the referral component. Now add that with the lead generation and paid advertising. Now you have momentum to consistently, basically generate new clients, for lack of a better word, as you sleep.
Right. That's extremely powerful. I think too, like what you're saying, there's so much competition now. Like I know for myself, I've said this multiple times, 12 years ago when I started my business, it was me and 2 other guys that had a small little boutique facility. Now in my small town, there's like one on every corner. It seems like one's popping up all the time. So from a marketing and client experience perspective, you really have to set yourself apart and stand above your competition so that you can continue to generate referrals and have the right systems in place to keep getting those leads on autopilot.
Yeah, absolutely. And, at the end of the day, I feel like if you want to grow your fitness business, you need to get people in front of you consistently, like period. There's no other way around that. And you target exactly, who you're looking for with paid advertising, not with the finger after you get the strategy down right. And I mentioned strategy here and not tactics, because sometimes people get caught up in tactics like, ooh, maybe it's chatbots. Maybe it's this free 6-week challenge. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And they're basically just following what they think works instead of being pioneers and getting creative with their offers. When you know strategy, you can put any offer you want in front of people and have a fair amount of success because you understand the fundamentals, the foundation, and you're able to pivot when the market changes. Like back in the day, I think, back in the day, maybe like 5-10 years ago, it was all about bodybuilding, getting as big as you could, cutting, and then getting shredded, and everyone wanted mass. And then these days, people are going more for the lean aesthetic. They're talking keto and now paleo, and all these other things evolve. Yeah. So as the market evolves, you can evolve as well. And that's how you stay with the longevity when it comes to marketing and growing your business.
Awesome. Now, what do you think some of the biggest mistakes are that fitness business owners are making that are causing them to not generate the leads they need to be successful and increase their income?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think at the end of the day, every single process feeds into itself. And like I mentioned, there's organic, which is free, and then there's paid. But if we're talking about paid, the reason why somebody might not be able to get leads consistently is you have to look at the whole system and then break it down into components. So, is the ad that I'm putting out there, is it getting clicks at an effective conversion, or is it getting clicks that are cost effective?
Yeah.
Yes or no? No. Okay. Is it the headline? No. You got to test it. Okay. Is it the video or the image? Yes. Okay. Now it's set in stone. Okay, great. Now my cost per lead is a little bit higher than I wanted to. Is this because of local competition, or is the metrics telling me that people aren't engaging enough and it's just costing more to market to this traffic? So you look at it from the advertising back end. Number one, that's the first component. And then number two, you look at your landing page and you say, okay, well, is my landing page converting effectively? Is my headline matching with what I'm saying in the actual ad? Okay. Are the images captivating? Am I using images of people that are fit, they're sexy, they're good looking? Because, when you market in fitness, like people don't want to look at like average looking people. They want to look fit. They want to look sexy. That's the whole reason why trainers are able to, like Kayla Itziens, all these celebrities on Instagram are able to monetize because they have an aesthetic that people want and they like idolize them. So you use that. Like I said, you reverse engineer what people want and you put that into like your landing page, prove the conversion, boom. That's step 2. And there's obviously like systematic ways to do it. Yeah. That's step 2. All right, good. Now my ads are performing well. The landing page is good conversion. My cost per lead is not horrible. And I'm generating 60 to 90 leads a month. Perfect. Okay. Now on the lead follow-up, out of these people that I'm generating leads from, how many of them are coming in for appointments? Okay. All right. So I'm generating 100 and only 30% of people are coming in for appointments. Well, that tells you, for example, that you might not be targeting the right people because they actually don't have a big motivation to show up. Or it can mean that your lead follow-up isn't very effective, and that's reflecting in your ability to schedule people in the door,
Yeah.
right? And that's another component. Okay, great. And that's the marketing at a high level. And now we jump into the sales. So if a fitness business isn't successful, it's because they're probably looking at the big picture and not breaking it down into components and identifying what the problem is.
Yeah. Also, like, I think, for a lot of fitness business owners that may be listening to us, hearing some of the, upper end of, marketing and back ends of Facebook could be like completely blowing their mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
For the fitness business owner that's like, you know what, I just want to bring in leads. I want to train clients. I want to close sales. What advice could you give in regards to a fitness business owner who's looking to hire out, a professional to do their marketing as far as Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, so there's two schools of thought with that. And one thing that I've talked to a lot of different gym owners and stuff, a problem that they have with marketing companies is because, it can be a little bit complicated. And for that reason, sometimes marketing companies overpromise and underdeliver to get the business, right? So my advice is if you're going to hire a marketing company, go with a specialist in your niche in fitness, because at least they have a good affinity with a track record of who they've been able to help. But more importantly than that, you're going to probably, for a specialist, you're going to end up paying anywhere from like $800 to like $1,500 a month just for them to manage it for you.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to worry about it and you just want to let that sit there, go that route. Not to mention ad spend, you're going to be spending at least $500 to $1,000. So you're looking at anywhere from $1,400, $1,300 all the way out to $2,000 a month, right?
Okay.
And you certainly don't know what the return on investment is going to be because you're trying them out. Obviously, that's what goes through people's minds before they move forward with someone. The other school of thought is just to empower yourself with the knowledge and follow a step-by-step blueprint on how to do it,
right?
Based on people who've had success. So that's what I do basically. So I basically help trainers and gym owners empower themselves with the knowledge and a step-by-step process where if you follow step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you learn the fundamentals, you will have a winning campaign.
Right.
And that's basically kind of how I do it in my training programs, because when I got started, I started with Done For You. I would do it for different gyms, different, personal training studios. And then I started realizing trends. People in fitness have the same problems. How you solve it with personal training or group fitness is different. And the demographic might be a little bit different on different parts of the US, but across the US, people would get fairly similar results. So then, when I had that proof of concept, then I said, you know what, I'm just going to empower them with a program that offers them support with myself and teaches them everything that I've learned into one cohesive step-by-step formula that they can follow,
right,
and empower themselves with the knowledge. So in case they do want to market it out one day, they at least know what to do and what they're looking for, and they have the knowledge on what they're looking at. If they ever decide to do it on their own again.
Right. I think because ultimately there's two, like, I know from my perspective, I enjoy the marketing. I like the research. I like, driving in leads and figuring out what works, testing things. And so that's my perspective as a fitness business owner. But then there's the other aspect that, like we said, that just wants to hire somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's also very important for the person who is hiring out somebody to also know some of the ins and outs of, basics of marketing, basics of generating leads as well.
Right, exactly. So you can be the judge of performance when a company says, hey, I'm hiring this out, and they're like, oh, in 3 months we're going to get going. Like, nah, it shouldn't take 3 months, more like 2 weeks when we get going.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at the numbers, you're like, okay, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And I guess it adds a level of accountability. But I know you mentioned some people don't want to do it. Other people, wouldn't mind doing it. But at the end of the day, the ultimate question that you have to ask is this: do you want to grow your business? And if somebody could show you how to do it and you get the same result, or you pay more money and you have somebody else do it for you, if you have the cash to spend, you get the same result. One is probably a little bit more, and I guess I'm being a little biased here, one's probably a little bit more proof of concept. The other one is, you really have to do your due diligence and make sure that you're getting the right person.
Right.
But, either way that you want to do it, it doesn't hurt to know a little bit of what you're looking at.
Right. Ultimately, for the fitness business owner who's looking to grow, looking to expand, looking to increase their income, you have to generate those quality leads. You have to have the right sales system in place, and you have to have the right follow-up in place.
the right follow-up, and then make sure that you're getting people amazing results on a consistent basis, and that your systems of how you operate your business are optimized down to how the facility looks, how, everything, how the weights are placed, how someone greets someone when they come in, how somebody, gets treated by other members of the community. Because if you ever look at successful fitness business that continue to be successful, and this isn't true for all scenarios, but a lot of franchise businesses, the reason why McDonald's and like other like franchise fitness businesses are able to open up multiple locations is because they have systems on how to do things. So when somebody jumps in, they follow the process, somebody gets a very similar experience anywhere they go. So down to what people wear, the posture, some people get so detailed, but the more detailed you are, the more important. Obviously, if you're just getting started, you're going to be a little scrappy. You got to have to figure things out. But when you've been in business for about 2 to 3 years, like that's the way you should start thinking about it. Thinking about it like a Fortune 500 company that, that is here to do business and give people amazing results, because at the end of the day, people pay you for results. That's all it comes down to. They pay you for what you can do for them. And that's all that matters. And when you deliver good results, that doesn't matter what marketing you do, doesn't matter what you have in place, other people will find out, because results speak for themselves. Like they say, women lie, men lie, but the numbers don't lie.
Boom. Hey, you dropped so much like freaking value on the audience, man. I can't, if you guys are listening to this, I recommend you guys go back through this and really pull out those key points that we talked about in this interview. Alan's freaking dropped some serious bombs on you guys. So, hey, I'd like to ask a few more questions to leave the listeners with. So what are you currently reading?
Yeah, so 2 of the books that I'm currently reading right now is called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And that's actually where I learned what I just spoke about. About why the topic, the theme of the book is why most small businesses fail, and why the ones who succeed massively. And it lays it out in black and white, and it really helps you think and put it into perspective. Another book I'm reading is called Essentialism. And I kind of forgot who the author was, but I have it. It's over there. And basically it talks about, it's kind of like the 80-20 principle, where it basically helps you understand what are the most productive and essential things that you need to be doing to drive results and drive success, whether you're a business, for yourself, personally, with health and fitness. Like, it puts it into perspective. We spend so much time on doing the dishes, on cleaning, on all these things that can be hired out to like the $15-$20 per hour work, while we can focus on the $1,000 per hour work, and then from there focus on the things that matter. And like I said, what are the things that matter? Getting new clients in the door, signing them up, and giving them a good experience. When you focus on that, everything else is noise. That's how you keep the ball rolling.
Right. And part of the reason why I bring in the books for fitness business owners is because, kind of like what we talked about in the very beginning, constant, never ending improvement. And reading is where something that you can apply the knowledge that you're getting from that book to apply directly right to your business, and is keeping your mind in the business game.
Right. Absolutely.
Also, another one I like is, what is your favorite self-help or business book of all time?
It's hard to choose that one, but I guess what I can say is the book that put things into perspective for me. And it's a good book to get you understanding the philosophy of wealth generation, because that's, some of the things I was into early on before I got started. And that book, you've probably heard of it. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. That one just put it into perspective. I was like, damn, and that's kind of what led me on the path to quit my 9-to-5 job and go into business for myself, because it really put it into perspective.
Awesome. I'm going to put all of those books in the show notes for you guys. Alan, again, I want to thank you for your time. How can my audience connect with you, learn more about maybe doing business with you, or just follow you in general?
Yeah, the best place for followers and listeners to connect with me is just go to my personal Facebook page, add me as a friend, and we can start a conversation. I post content there roughly five days a week. So I try to practice what I preach, like I just mentioned. So it's facebook.com/leadsbae. That's facebook.com/LEADSVAE.
Awesome. I'll include a link in that in the show notes as well. So again, I want to thank you for all the value you provided the audience. Appreciate you.
No problem, Andy. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to jump on this interview with me. I'm more than happy to drop knowledge to fellow fitness business owners out there, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the more you learn, the more you earn. And if I can help someone empower themselves with a little knowledge that's going to take them to the next step, it's a win for me.
Boom. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you, Andy.